moment when we can do that. So, as I see it, it's capitalism with a conscience. There are capitalist forces that do a lot of good. They should simply be regulated appropriately and kept in their lane, pushed back. And that is the great tradition of the United States. That's why we have child labor laws. That's why we have unions, because other generations have pushed back where necessary and where appropriate against the reach of capitalism when unfettered by morality, ethics, or government regulation. Does that make sense? Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
The things you just mentioned, though, isn't it the child labor laws? Isn't that because all the people went to the streets, and that's just not happening? They went to the streets. They protested. They marched. The women came out of the factories and demanded better labor laws. That's what it takes, and that's just not happening now.
Well, hold on. First of all,
so distracted.
I don't want this one
Exactly.
to fly without everybody hearing it. It took several years to get child labor laws, and you're absolutely right. So this is, first of all, what you're saying is exactly what I said when we began today. It's like Sean Corn's organization, Off the Mat, and into the, what is it, Off the Mat? You know, as I said, it's been real convenient and cozy for us in here. But this is not the time to just stay in the yoga studio all day. This is time to do 1 hour of yoga, 1 hour of meditation, and then go kick ass. And the meditation and the spiritual practice are actually a very important part of it, because your nervous system, it becomes assaulted. That's what I see with all this character assassination of me. It's got a twofold purpose to it. Number one, mock her enough and character assassinate her enough that smart people will think, well, we can't go with the wacky pistol lady. And also, it's got an underlying desire that it will stop me. Because, you know, how much can you wake up on any given day and see another article saying you're a danger to feminism? And I'm looking, and the article was written by someone, I'm thinking, honey, I was a feminist before you were born. Or her ideas could kill Americans, or she told AIDS patients to not take that medicine. But you know how I look at all that? If I can't take that, how could you possibly think I could take on Vladimir Putin? Yeah. I gave a talk. If you're on my social media, you'll see. I tweeted this out just the last 2 days because I gave a talk at Howard University the other day, and I talked about my own path from the pulpit to the streets, to the voting booth, to the ballot box, to the ballot. And what you're saying is true, but in today's world, flooding the voting booths are the equivalent of what in the old days was voting the streets, marching in the street. By the way, I'm not saying we shouldn't march in the streets. I mean, I was at the first women's march, and the second one for that matter. So I'm not saying we shouldn't be in the streets, but in the streets is not enough. We have to be in the voting booth, because there's no shamelessness or narcissism on the part of a president. There is nothing Cambridge Analytica can do, although there's a lot they can do. There is nothing that the Russians can do if the Russians are involved. There is nothing that the power of incumbency can bring. None of that will be ultimately successful in overriding the forces of democracy as long as enough of us vote. Since Trump has been elected, there has not only been marches, etc., but more people running for office. Because now, you know, and I've seen it in my own career, because a lot of people have said to me during this campaign, Marianne, why don't you advise? Why don't you advise politicians? Why don't you and in ways that most of you do not know, because I don't make it public, because it's no different than counseling anyone else. I have advised politicians. This is how it works. You advise them, and they might even be really taken in by some of the insights that you try to provide. But they're so much a part of that system that even if they want to try to make a change, they don't. And anything that you see that you go, wow, that's from our conversation, is so watered down. And at a certain point, what has happened to me in my life is I'm looking at this person that I've advised, and I just feel like, just get up and let me sit there. Oh, let me get to that phone. Let me pick up the phone. At a certain point, we need to do more than elevate the conversation. I'm not here to elevate the conversation. How trained to be a girl is that? Real women want to more than elevate the conversation. We want to elevate our planet. And that's true of real men as well. We need to go beyond just having a better conversation. The hour is too late. Somebody over here